Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I'm having a lot of fun with my pearlescent paints. So today I'm going to do another pearlescent pour. But this time I'm going to do a swipe and I'm going to do a combination of swirls and lines. And I want to create a completely different depth to this. So I've mixed my pearlescent paints with pouring medium. I'm going to use a lamp black base, so I'm going to get the base colour down and then we can start the process. Getting really good coverage and a consistent layer really is the key to creating a successful design. It means that the base colour is consistent and therefore the paints won't travel or run in other directions that you don't want them to. So I'm going to just take one colour at a time. There are 6 pearlescent colours. All the colours are listed in the description box below, but today I'm using the brand of Amsterdam. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one colour at a time, and you'll see here I have sped this part of the video up. I don't want you to get bored. So I'm going to layer each colour one by one until I've used all of those 6 colours in the middle here. So all of my paints, including my base colour, are all mixed with Floetrol. So I'm using 1 part paint to 3 parts pouring medium. And I've added just a slight dash of water in with that combination as well. You'll see here that I'm not really putting too much paint down, just enough to ensure that when I swipe there's enough paint to cover the canvas itself. I don't want to use too much paint to then have to push more of that paint off down the sides. It's about creating that balance. So for my swipe, I'm using toilet paper. It's a 3-ply toilet paper. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to place the toilet paper on top of the pearlescent paint and swipe out. On one side, I'm going to do straight lines. And on the other side, I'm going to do swirls. So let me start off with this process now. I'm going to add some straight lines on both sides. And then I'm going to go in for the swirls. You'll see that I'm using shorter paper. That means that I'm able to control that swipe a little bit more. And that's going to be useful, especially when doing the swirls, because I'm going to want the paper to move in various directions in one swoop. So I'm now going to start the process of the swirls. So I'm literally going to take the paper, ensure that it's immersed into the paint that I've layered, and I'm going to swirl that paint on this side of the canvas, just in a slow motion, allowing the paper to connect with the paint. The paint slightly soaks into that paper, and it allows me to push that paint and glide that paint across the direction of the canvas that I'm going in. So the paper itself isn't damp, it's a dry paper, and I only allow the paper to touch the surface of the paint. It soaks in slightly, and then I'm able to swirl it across the canvas. And what I would say is it's not about applying too much pressure when you swipe. You're literally allowing that paper to soak up some of the paint, and then you help it glide across the surface of that canvas by pulling it in the direction that you want to pull it in. So this side of the canvas I'm doing swirls, And on the top half that you can see, I'm going to be doing some straighter lines. And it's that balance of those swirls and those lines that are going to create such a different dimension and depth to this piece. Okay, so I'm happy with the swirls, and now I'm going to go on to the other side of the canvas and literally just do some straighter lines. But I'm going to pull them in the direction diagonally. So you can see here that I'm able to again put the paper in the paint, allow it to slightly soak in, and then pull it in one direction to help that paint glide on top of the surface of that canvas. I'm pulling the paint towards me, and you can probably only see here that it's white paint, but believe me, you'll want to see the dried results because guys, the colours and how they transform into those different colours is amazing. And what happens is those colours can transform because it's against a black background, a very dark background, and when the light hits that paint, bounces off the black background back into the paints, you can then see the shimmer of all those different colours. And if you're interested, I have written a very short reference guide if you're interested in learning more about pearlescent paints and some of the techniques that you can use by using the pearlescent paints in fluid art. I'll drop the link below for you to check out that information. So now I'm literally reducing the width of the paper. You may have seen me do this in previous pours. And I'm literally going to go over with this reduced width paper along those lines. And that's what's going to help me create some extra depth in this piece. Pulling the paint with using the paper in one direction, allowing some more of that base colour to pop through. And that's what's going to create that 3D effect. I notice in the middle here, I've got a little bit of a gap. So I'm just going to add a little bit more paint. And I'm going to take my paper and swipe that part out a little bit more because I don't want that black paint to dry and those pearlescent paints not be able to pop through. So I'm just adding a little bit more paint now to ensure that there's a really good balance in that center part. I'll just torch this piece to get rid of any of the air bubbles, and then I will take you in for a closer look of the wet version. You can see here the detail of the swirls and the lines, and actually you can see the paint starting to transform into the colours that they're meant to be. They are really gorgeous colours. If you've not used pearlescent paints yet, I would encourage you to just buy some if you can and just give it a go. Experiment and have fun, because by doing that, you're evolving and you're experimenting yourself in terms of the paints that you're able to use. And I absolutely love these paints, as you've probably guessed, because I've done quite a few creations now in this Pearlescent series. So I have created a playlist on my YouTube channel. It's free to watch, so if you want to have a look at all the Pearlescent pours that I've done, and there's going to be a few more that I'm going to add in the coming weeks, then check that playlist out, because I tell you, it's definitely one of my favourites. Okay, so here's the dry version. And we've got a little bit of sun coming in today, so I've placed this in the sun just so you can see some of that shimmer of those pearlescent paints and how they can really shine and shimmer through. I'm going to leave you with some of the details. I'll go in a bit closer up so you can see some of that movement and some of those lines that we created by taking the swiping paper, swiping straight lines and swirly lines. I hope you've enjoyed this piece. I love how this piece really moves and pops, and it's almost like a pearlescent fire. So yeah, I'll leave you with the details. Don't forget to check out the description box below. And in the description box, there's all the information that I've used in terms of canvas size, my ratios for the paint, and a lot more information too, so check it out. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you continue to have a great week. Take care everyone, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye!